What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. I thought I would jump in front of my fragrance shelf again today because we're going to be talking about a question that is one of the most debated and discussed questions in the fragrance community, and that is, how much is too much when it comes to a fragrance collection? You know, how do you know when you have too many bottles, or is there such a thing as too many bottles? And to be honest, I actually counted all of my fragrances before I started this video, and I'm sitting at a cool 198 bottles. Do I have a problem? Do I have too many? That's the point of this video, is we're going to discuss if there's a limit, and if so, what that limit is. And I promise you, this answer may surprise you. So let's go. So what's the answer to the question, how many fragrances are too many? The answer is, it all depends. I don't think there's an actual number. I think the biggest part is that you have to think about, what is your end game? What are you getting out of fragrances, or what are you trying to use fragrances for? If you're just trying to smell good every once in a while, then you should have X amount of fragrances. It's not going to be very many. Now, are you trying to be a big time fragrance influencer and have a TikTok channel or a YouTube channel? Then you're probably going to have a lot more, just like me, and there's everything in between. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about 4 classifications of people and how many fragrances you probably have and which fragrances. And for each of these 4 classifications, I'm going to give you 3 fragrances that people in that category may have. So let's get into it. The first category is going to be the beginner. Someone that's just now getting into fragrances, is not overly concerned about, smelling right for this occasion, that occasion. They just want to smell good. They're probably going to be reaching for some cheapies or some inexpensive popular brands. All right, so let's check these out. The first one they may reach for is something like this one. This is Banana Republic Grasslands. You can get this at TJ Maxx, Marshalls, and everything. It is a really good $20 fragrance, and this is like, I would describe this like if Davidoff Cool Water was not released in the 80s and was released today. That's what this smells like. It's a little bit updated, still has that earthy, grassy scent to it, but it's also got a little bit of a soapy edge. So this is one that they may check out. The second one they may have, I need to get my words out, is Perry Ellis 360 Black, a $17 50 milliliter bottle that I got at Ross. And this is actually a very slept on fragrance. I'm surprised that not more people talk about this. A great fall and winter fragrance. Its main notes are tobacco and suede. It's got a good edgy feel to it, and it definitely will turn some heads. Perry Ellis 360 Black. And then finally, this is one that is very common amongst beginners, is going to be Versace Eros Eau de Toilette. Not too terribly expensive when you go shopping for it. Maybe $50, $60 for a 100 milliliter bottle. But I still love this fragrance. It's very powerful. It's very compliment pulling, and it's hard not to like this fragrance. Apple, mint, and vanilla, one of the most popular night out fragrances. These are examples of what types of fragrances a beginner may have, and they're probably going to only have about maybe 3, 4, or 5 fragrances tops. Now let's get to the second classification, and that is going to be the average Joe. This is somebody that's going to be getting a little bit more into the designer realm without going totally crazy. We're not looking at niche fragrances yet or anything, but they know what smells good, they know what's popular, and they're starting to get into those things. The first one, a pretty easy call, is going to be Dior Sauvage. This is the Eau de Toilette. This is the really big 200 milliliter bottle that I have for some reason, but it is the popular of popular fragrances right here. And love it or hate it, there's a reason it's so popular. It's got that citrusy, ambroxan, peppery, edgy feel that is great for a night out with the boys. When you're at a club, when you're at a bar, whatever, you're going to get noticed, and it's very, very loud. Okay, so Dior Sauvage is going to be the first one. Number 2, not too terribly expensive again, but this one, another edgy fragrance, Azzaro Wanted by Night. We've got cinnamon, tobacco, some mandarin orange, a little bit of vanilla in here. This was one of my first loves, and you can find it for about $50, $45, $50 for a 100 milliliter bottle. But this is going to be in the collection of the average Joe, more than likely, or something similar to this, a bad boy type scent. Finally, you're gonna have something fresh, something name brand. It's gonna be something like Hugo Boss Bottled Unlimited. So Boss Bottled Unlimited, this is a great freshy scent, and $40, $50, somewhere around there again. But this has like melon and pineapple in it, along with some other citrusy, watery notes. A great summer and springtime fragrance. It really makes you pop. It really makes you stand out. It lasts decently well in the heat. We're talking about 5 to 6 hours, but for the price, what more can you expect? Now, these are gonna be probably in the collection of some of the average Joes, along with some of the fragrances that the beginner had, all right? The third classification, this is when you're probably gonna have somewhere around 25, 30, 40 fragrances, okay? And that is going to be someone who is a collector. Now, not only will this person have 30, 40 bottles, they're gonna have a big collection, but these are gonna be some pretty serious fragrances, and this is when you're gonna probably start being introduced to niche scents, all right? The first one is gonna be one of the more popular, but one of the more expensive name brand designer fragrances. That would be Bleu de Chanel Eau de Parfum. And I say, you know, Chanel is known for never discounting their fragrances, and Bleu de Chanel is no exception. This is a 50 milliliter bottle that I had to pay $110 to get. But as far as blue fragrances, fresh soapy fragrances are concerned, this is the most popular on the market by far, okay? And it's decent. I have things that I think are better than this one, but in terms of popularity, that's going to be this one right here. Now, the next one is going to be maybe somebody's first niche fragrance. This one's going to be from the house of Mancera. This is Mancera Oud Lemon Mint. This was my first purchase from Mancera. And it is, Mancera's a good niche house to start off with because they're pretty inexpensive. I got this 100 milliliter bottle for less than $100. It's a niche scent. You can smell a lot of quality when you smell this. Now, there are some woody notes in there. You definitely get that hit of lemon, as is in the title. And the mint, here's the thing about the mint, it's not like a spearmint or a peppermint, but it's more like a mint leaf. And then it's finally got some powdery facets in there. It's a very mature fragrance, I think. Sometimes a little bit difficult to pull off for younger guys, but this one kicks the heat in the teeth, man. It is a serious fragrance for hot weather climates, okay? We're talking about 8 to 10 hours of longevity. So Mancera Oud Lemon Mint. And then finally, they're probably going to have a niche fragrance from this house right here, one of the most popular, from Creed. This one is Creed Viking, not one of the more popular from Creed, but I really, really like this one. And the reason I like this one is because Creed has become a house that's, it's niche, but people buy it so much that it almost feels like it's not niche anymore, like it's a mainstream thing. But there are still only, I think, a few fragrances from the house of Creed that are unique enough to be considered niche, and I think this is one of them. It's got mint, it's got rose, it's got absinthe. It's a very unique, almost a fougere type of fragrance right here. Very aromatic too, so you've got to be ready for these powerful notes. 10 to 12 hours of longevity. This one really, really does the job, okay? Creed Viking. So those three fragrances you're gonna see from somebody that is a collector, 30, 40 bottles, and they will probably have all of the things that the previous two classifications of people did. Finally, we have the fourth classification of people that collect fragrances, and that is someone like myself who is an influencer, who is a personality on social media, or who is making a living or a big time hobby telling people about what's going on. In this realm, you're going to be getting into some higher end niche fragrances. You're going to be getting into some artisanal scents, and you're going to start looking for discontinued fragrances that are very, very hard to get your hands on. So let's talk about that one first. This one's from Terry Mugler. It is a relic of the past. This is Mugler's Beeman, not Amen. This is Beeman. And I got to tell you, this is a very, very difficult fragrance. I found this in just an off the beaten path shop, and I love Terry Mugler's fragrances, the Amen line especially, but this one it's like a metal casing, man. This is a serious scent, and the major notes here are woody notes and licorice. So if you don't like licorice, you would not like this. But Beeman, this has been discontinued for quite some time. I'm just proud to have it in here. I don't use it hardly at all. It's just a collector item, but that's what influencers would probably try to get. The next thing I have is an artisanal fragrance from a very, very small fragrance company here in the United States, but it is some of the most unique and some of the most high quality fragrances I've smelled in a long time. It's from the House of Harmony Perfumes. The perfumer, his name is Trill Noel, and he came out with this one that I thought was just a gem. It is called Castle Black. Yes, I'm a big Game of Thrones fan, and that's immediately what drew me to it. But when I smelled it for the first time, I was floored. Now, when I say artisanal fragrance, I mean this is not something that you spray on to wear out and fit a certain season or fit a certain social scenario or whatever. This is something where you're going to spray it on, and whoever smells you is going to be drawn into a picture. Like Bob Ross painting, you're going to be taken to that place. This has notes like rose, it's got mint, it smells very earthy, it smells mossy, it smells like you're standing in the middle of a ruins, of a big thing of ruins, a castle that once stood 1,000 years ago and has crumbled to the ground, but you can smell the damp, wet dirt underneath, you can smell the moss on the rocks, you can smell a little bit of the cold air coming in because you're there in the evening time. I mean, it's just, there are so many facets to this fragrance. I think it's beautiful. Double-digit hours of longevity. Now, you got to be ready to pay a pretty penny. It's over $100. It's around $200, but it is worth every penny. I'm so glad I got my hands on this one. And then finally, we're going to have a classy niche fragrance. And the last one that we're going to hit on today is from the House of Penhaligon's. It is the Tragedy of Lord George. Man, I love this bottle. Look at this. It is such a great bottle, and this is a very powerful fragrance. Now, some of the official notes are like brandy and woody notes, but whenever I smell this, I basically get two things, all right? It smells like a mix between incense and shaving cream. But this is like, whenever I go to get my haircut, I went to go get my haircut today, and I'd take this to my barber every single time, and the guys in there go crazy for this. It is an amazing after you shave, after you get a haircut type fragrance. The barbershop type scent is absolutely breathtaking. So Penhaligon's has a great line from Halfetti and all of these other ones. That is a level of classiness when it comes to niche fragrances that you're not going to find in things like Parfums de Marly or Creed. So that's it, Penhaligon's, and those are fragrances that you're going to find that an influencer is going to have, along with a lot of the other fragrances from the previous 3 classifications. There it is. That's your answer. So I ask you again, how many fragrances are too many? It all depends on your classification. So go through, figure out what your classification is. What's your end game? What are you trying to get out of it? As soon as you answer that question, then you will know the answer to the other question, and everything will be right as rain. Guys, thank you so much. Leave your thoughts in the comments below. I love interacting with everybody. Be sure you subscribe, you like, you follow, you do all of those things. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell your grandmas and grandpas, your pastors, your whoever it is. Let them know that RAFscents is out there, and I want to get to know each and every one of you. Thank you so much for watching. I can't wait to see you next time.